I don't care if this sounds mean. I think what she has exhibited to us are all of the traits of a malignant narcissist.
This is a woman. There's a dossier, a bullying dossier on this woman somewhere under lock and key in Kensington Palace. And she is personally working with Meta to stop online bullying. Welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and author and badass Maureen Callahan is here to help us unpack the latest with Prince William, Catherine, Harry, and Chef Meghan Markle. Backed by popular demand is how we would describe this. Maureen, you are very much loved in this sphere.
I am so happy to hear that and that I have found my people, my fellow sinners, and more. Kinsey, we are bringing more and more people over to our side.
It's true.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to go a little bit out of order because after I thought about it, I thought perhaps it makes more sense to talk about Prince William reacting to the death of his former nanny, Tiggy Leg Burke, is what she was known as when he was a young man. She lost her stepson. He was just 31 years old. His name was Edward Pittifer. He was among the 14 individuals killed in the New Orleans attack. We believe that Tiggy is also Archie, Prince Archie, Harry and Meghan's godson. So we'll react to this. Prince William saying that he was shocked, and he released a statement on social media. We found out almost immediately that the king had been alerted to the death. It was very serious and devastating. But in the process of that, I want you to imagine Meghan frolicking on the beach for Instagram, because how bad was the timing of this? Meghan choosing to launch her brand after multiple attacks on the country.
Well, I mean, as you have said before, as I have said before, her timing is nothing short of consistently terrible. And it's not as though she didn't have enough time to pull back and say, let's put a pin in this and wait for a few days or maybe next week. There's no rush. Tiggy Leg Bork was and remains, it seems, very close to William and Harry. She was something of a second mother to them. This goes to show the tentacles that this attack has had. William and Catherine posting on social media, the king being alerted. It all goes to the special relationship that still exists between the United States and the United Kingdom. And these two idiots, these two malignant narcissists. I hadn't seen that trailer until you texted it to me. And I'm like, what the actual is this? Like, she's frolicking on a beach. She's frolicking on a beach in like billowing white clothes, writing the number, 2025 in the sand and giggling.
Multiple times.
Right, multiple takes, to get this really arduous message out there. And it just goes to show how much better off the royals remain without them and why they are still gray rocking them.
Yeah, I agree with you. What does it tell you too? I'm not trying to force you to repeat yourself, but the idea that Meghan has held on to this account since 2022. What's 24 hours? What's 48 hours? Is she really, because page 6, sources tell page 6, which is typically Meghan Markle and her team, that Meghan spent the last year totally preparing for this. She's so prepared. She screws up in one of the uploads to her video, had to delete and re-upload. I mean, so somebody hadn't even Googled what was the latest in how to upload an Instagram video. Not reading the room. You've had this account since 2022. What was a few more days?
I don't know whether it's truly amateur hour over there and she's got like an intern who's just hapless, like, or it's herself trying, like she didn't update her software, or if she simply doesn't care. If these things she considers news events that she needs to compete with rather than, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this has happened more than once.
Hmm.
With Catherine's announcement, I believe her trailer for this show came out like a week or so prior, but it's still this sort of, it's like they have this like internal radar for
Yeah.
terrible timing, and they refuse to learn from it. So I don't know whether it's willful or it's just, again, an example of their idiocy.
Yeah, well, just to your point, Prince William and Catherine landed in Boston for the Earthshot Awards a few years ago. Harry and Meghan dropped their Netflix trailer for their reality show. The King announces he has cancer, and Meghan announces the launch of American Riviera Orchard's Instagram page and website. Catherine says, "Hey, I'm feeling a little bit better post cancer or during cancer," and then Nacho Polo posts the dog biscuits on Instagram hours before we're supposed to see Catherine, her triumphant return. So sometimes it does feel intentional. I know it wasn't here. And I have had some people say, hey, lay off. She had no idea that Tiggy's son was one of the victims. But that I acknowledge that was an unfortunate coincidence. What I'm saying is you should know better that when the world or when the country is grieving and confused and in fear, it's not the time to launch your influencer brand.
First of all, Kinsey, you are totally right. Thank you for like pulling up those timelines like so quickly. And to the point of people saying, well, lay off. She didn't know that Tiggy's stepson was one of, it doesn't matter. You're an American and your husband has fled to America and you're raising your children as Americans. And there were two terror attacks on US soil on New Year's Day. And we did not know the enormity of the death toll, the injured. Not that that even matters. That there were terror attacks should be enough for you to say, hey, my little cooking show, which is a complete ripoff of many, many, many people and things that have come before me, as per usual, because I don't have an original thought in my head. You know what? That can wait. Let me show a little royal grace. Let me show a little royal, I don't know, decorum. She's fundamentally incapable of it.
100%. Also, I was thinking too, how there would have been critics. I don't know if I would have been one of them because I lived in New Orleans. So I feel like I would have been pro this, but she could have launched the Instagram with a campaign for New Orleans. Tyler Perry, Lily's godfather, is from New Orleans. Why wasn't that on her mind? The godfather that allegedly saved me, rushed me from the UK out of my sinister situation of living in a palace, and is the godfather of my child, is from this town that, and you're right, that the way news works is that we're all waiting. How many people passed away? How many people are injured? What's next? We had two attacks that day. There were people like me that were fearful of a third. I just wonder, does she have any counsel around her that cares, that is truly that is has the ability to process this kind of information? Or is she so, and this sounds mean and I'm sorry, but is she such a heinous employer that you fear pushing back?
I think what we have learned, especially over the past year with these leaks about her employees fleeing in droves, they lost their newly hired CEO, who was really apparently like a gem of a hire. Like that's the guy you want running your stuff. He left within 3 months. He left before they went on one of those faux royal tours, which is a message. That's sending a message. I can't stand these people. I can't stand them. Right. And I think I don't care if this sounds mean. I think what she has exhibited to us are all of the traits of a malignant narcissist. And one of the things you can never tell a narcissist is no, you're wrong, apologize, take accountability. And it culminates in this kind of thing where you see this laughable trailer, which I really cannot wait to take apart with you, where you just see a continued, she's like, I'm going to shove myself down your throat through whatever media outlet I can until you love me,
Yeah,
despite
it's
each
no.
successive attempt resulting in more and more negative reaction and a public recoiling.
Oh my gosh, I was just thinking like I don't even need Ozempic. All I need is the Meghan Markle trailer on loop, and I have no desire to eat. I want to ask you about the disabled comments on her Instagram. I see all these PR people saying, well, she's trying to protect her peace. How cowardly. If you want to put yourself out there and you want to be a girl's girl and you're pretending like you're engaging with your audience, then not allowing people to comment. She also, by the way, has said through friends to Page Six that she is personally working with Meta to make Instagram and Facebook a safer environment for online bullying. This is a woman, there's a dossier, a bullying dossier on this woman somewhere under lock and key in Kensington Palace. And she is personally working with Meta to stop online bullying. What does it say about her that she is launching all of this stuff? She's never promoted any project before. So the desperation is there. The fact that she is actually promoting this Netflix show when she didn't promote any of the previous Netflix shows. But she's turned the comments off on her Instagram account.
Well, like all bullies, they can dish it out, but they can't take it,
Oh,
right?
100%.
So
Yeah.
God forbid she has some negative comments in her feed, and again, I don't think anybody's working at Casa Montecito because why don't you have some low-level employee just like monitoring the comments and like editing that? I don't understand, and I would also love I would love for Facebook and Meta, I would love for Mark Zuckerberg to confirm that they are working personally with the Duchess of Sussex on this online bullying campaign, which it feels so nebulous, so nothing. So I don't know what it means. What is she doing? What is she actively doing?
Well, remember, Prince Harry also told us that he personally reached out to Jack Dorsey to warn him about the January 6th insurrection. So these people, they want us to know they have friends in high places. They want us to know that they are busy, busy, busy inserting themselves in things that don't make any sense to us. I don't want Prince Harry to have anything to do with the Aspen Institute telling us how we should engage in social media online going forward.
Guess what, Kinsey? Neither do those people. Let's just take a look at the past couple of weeks while Meghan is ramping up. By the way, on the back end of Polo, which was a commercial and critical belly flop, okay? Oprah throws a 70th birthday party for Gail up in Montecito. Where's Meghan? The Golden Globes. Meghan's got a big new shiny project to promote. Where is she? Nowhere to be found. Nobody wants her anywhere near them.
Mm-mm. No, no. I mean, she's toxic. She's poison for the brand. You mentioned the Duchess of Sussex working with Facebook Meta. What was your reaction seeing her utilizing her title on her Instagram? Because it initially just said Meghan, and then after the launch, she went back in there and changed it, utilizing her title. What does that say to you about her worth and her value? This is a woman that calls herself a feminist. Why would a feminist need to use the title she inherited through marriage?
It's so interesting because first of all, when you sent that trailer, I went looking for it and I was like going through Instagram using all of her handles and I couldn't find it. I was like, where is it? And then I realized it was just Meghan. So first of all, she had to buy that from somebody. Like
Yeah,
there's
for
no
sure.
way that just Meghan was available. And then I thought, well, this feels really
Well,
cloying.
hey, I'm actually going to correct you there because they took Sussex Royals or Sussex from someone previously. So they actually go to Meta, they go to Twitter, and that they ask for it. I don't think they pay for it. I think that they
Really?
bully. I think because a man said, I lost my account to Harry and Meghan. So I actually think that they don't offer to pay for it. I think that they just bully people for it.
They're so cheap. They're so tacky. It's so tacky. At least pay some random person out there. Give them a nice little payday. If
Yeah,
you're going to
exactly.
hijack their well-worn, online handle. They are the worst. So anyway, so I was shocked that she was just going by her plebeian first name. Whoa, she's coming down to earth with the rest of us. And then, of course, no, 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 no. She's got to insert the Duchess. I wonder if she wasn't getting enough traction with just the Meghan handle. Maybe
Uh,
that was it.
that's interesting. I mean, yeah, I think that she realizes that that's her only value. Because again, we're going to talk about this trailer here in a second, but I was thinking when watching that trailer, there's no way 2015 Meghan could have secured that show. It's too bland, it's too boring. There's not enough star power, there's not enough charm. The reason, you know, 2025 Meghan has that show is because of who she's married to, and that's it. I mean, there's just nothing special about it. Does it strike you as odd that Prince Harry's not in her profile photo with her, that he wasn't technically included in her first post? He's barely in the trailer. Does it strike you odd at all that she is using the title, but all the pictures are of herself and no Prince Harry yet?
Nope, not at all. The year of professional separation is going to turn into the era of a personal separation. And I think she's biding her time. I think, I've been reading a lot of online chatter that the theory is emerging that she may be waiting. This is very morbid and very grim, but very Meghan. She may be waiting until the king passes away to make her move
Oh,
because she
wow.
is not going to be separate from the royal family when this historic moment happens.
Well, I can see that, but it's also a woman that refused to show up to his coronation, which shocked me. It shocked me that she did not want cameras on her, that she did not want to be there for such a historic day. I was truly floored that she opted to not participate, but it gives you a sense that she really knows how truly loathed she is, not just over there, but by her in-laws.
Oh, 100%. I actually wasn't shocked because that came on the heels of Harry and Meghan being booed when
Mm-hmm.
they showed up the last time they were in the UK. And the royal family froze them out of these after events. I forget exactly what it was. Was it the Queen's
Well,
death?
the queen passed away just a few weeks after Meghan did her cut interview, where she was critical of the royal family, and then she complained to Variety, saying she was too trusting of the cut, and trying to allude to the fact that they included some things in there that she didn't want them to. I'm sorry, but if a stranger shows up at my house to write a profile on me, I'm not going to say anything out loud that I don't think might potentially end up in print. And this is not a 20-year-old girl. This is a 40-year-old woman who has spent, the last 20 years of her life or more crawling, clawing all over Los Angeles, California between Shakira auditions and miming fellatio and 90210 pilots. She's so desperate for any sort of fame whatsoever that she knows exactly what she's doing when she says something in front of a journalist that is there assigned to write a profile on her. I think she said specifically that she didn't sign an NDA, and that she found a journal at Frogmore Cottage one of the last times she was there, which alluded to the fact that she had more dirt. They're untrustworthy. So I absolutely understand what you're saying, and it seems like every time they do something big, this is horrible, but someone passes away. It was a month after they did the Oprah Winfrey interview that Prince Philip died. She does the cut. The Queen dies a few weeks later. It's like, oh, what is that omen?
It's so ghoulish. You can't tell me that Harry and Meghan weren't apprised as to the failing health of his grandparents. And they sit and they do this. And they for Philip's last days, for Queen Elizabeth's last days, these are the slings and arrows that are being thrown their way by an ungrateful grandson and his insufferable wife. The queen wanted to give them every way out that was graceful and while keeping the door open for them, because in her wisdom she knew the American experiment would not work out. Why? Because Harry is dim entitled, and has zero internal resources. And this woman is a viper. And to your point, she is a creature of Hollywood. She was born and raised on Hollywood sets. Her father was a lighting director who used his pull to get his untalented daughter into auditions. She doesn't know how the American media works.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I feel so terrible for her. You can't be an idiot and the smartest woman in the room at the same time. It's one or the other. Pick one.
Right. Well, I mean, the longer we are, with her in this journey, I really think she is an idiot because and I thought she was beautiful and smart at the beginning, but to launch her influencer brand, how frivolous and irrelevant on the day of two terror attacks really floored me. And I kept saying, I'm surprised that I'm surprised. I might have even said that to you. I'm surprised that I'm surprised that
Mhm.
she would do this when we were so upset over everything that was going on. Let's talk about the trailer. um, 89% negative reaction. So that's 89% thumbs down. It was over 103,000 thumbs down the last time I looked, with not even 13,000 thumbs up so far. A million people have watched the trailer. Netflix blessing us with the comment section turned on. I love this comment by one, and I'm sorry that I'm forgetting the handle, but somebody said, the woman that wrote the soap company complaining that they alluded to the fact that women belong in the kitchen, now branding herself in the kitchen. I mean, the irony, every time this woman is in front of a microphone, she tries to retell us the soap story about how when she was 11 years old, she wrote the soap company and said it should not be women all over the world in the kitchen. And she swears to God they changed the language because of her, and that Hillary Clinton was moved by the letter she wrote her. Just what is your reaction to what was your first reaction when do you believe in magic kicks on and you're watching this Netflix trailer play out?
Okay, two thoughts. First, to your thing about that letter that we never stop hearing about that she wrote at age 11. I have read, and again, I could be wrong, so I'm going to just couch this as my opinion, but I have read that it wasn't like something this genius little girl was activated to do of her own volition. It was like a class project, like write a letter, get out of here with this. Okay, number one. Number two, the trailer opens with the Love and Spoonfuls, Do You Believe in Magic, doing the heavy lift. Now, the phrase that comes after Do You Believe in Magic in that song, the lyric is in a young girl's heart. You believe in magic in a young girl's heart. I don't know, maybe. Do I believe in magic in like a middle-aged divorcee who climbed her way up a greasy pole to marry a beta prince who's now trying her 8 millionth attempt to become famous and likable on her own in this trailer that has zero to offer me, that is like gouge your eyes out boring? I don't believe in magic. I don't. What do you think? Tell me what you think.
He's killed the dream for you. I hate that for you. Well, first of all, we spoke a second ago about how there's all this hype around how Meghan disappeared last year because she was building this brand. She was being an entrepreneur, all this behind the scenes work, and she's such a perfectionist. Well, last night at the Golden Globes, I believe it was Entertainment Tonight, they asked Mindy Kaling what it was like going to, she's on Meghan Markle's new show. What did Meghan cook for you? And Mindy Kaling kind of says, you know what? She called me 2 months postpartum and said, hey, do you want to come over? I'm going to cook for you and we'll walk through my garden. And I was like, yeah, there's always good food around Meghan Markle, which is like not the best endorsement for friendship, free food. But I looked up the birth of her kid. She was born towards the end of February 2024. That is in April that Meghan would have been making that phone call to Mindy Kaling. She wrapped around April. So, Maureen, how much time was invested and how much thought was invested into this project if Mindy is a last minute addition? And that is the biggest name that she was capable of securing. And we know that because she's featured in the trailer. She's calling her month of, week of, and saying, hey, do you want to come down here and record this? That's not a lot of preparation going into this thing.
Well, I find Mindy Kaling to be an unreliable narrator, and her appearance in this trailer only ratified how much I have disliked her all these years. She is not, in my opinion, telling the truth because it's not as though Meghan just sort of called her up and said, "Hey, want to come by? I'm going to cook for you." Mindy Kaling is in her kitchen in full hair and makeup, in full glam, wearing like a sort of designer casual thing saying like, oh, this is the most glamorous, one of the most glamorous moments of my life. There's another scene where Mindy's like in a floral dress, again, full hair and makeup. This was a huge production. And I think that they are probably well matched in sort of a very transactional understanding of what a Hollywood friendship is. And Mindy kind of threw her under the bus a little bit because, like all of us, she saw that trailer and it's a belly flop.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you. I kept thinking that because the last time you and I discussed Mindy, she was doing a Better Up event for Prince Harry. And there are certain people that I do think see the value in the Royal Association stateside. Rebel Wilson was one of them who showed up to support Prince Harry at a polo match, but she later said that like Meghan was horribly rude to her, and she's since pulled back. But I do think that there is a transactional, there are some celebrities that think that there is something interesting or see some sort of value in engaging with these people. And most of them are media personalities. If you look at Oprah, if you look at Gayle, what's in it for them? Like ratings busting interviews. The fact that Oprah secured Meghan and Harry before they fulfilled their contractual obligations to Spotify and Netflix. You know that Bic pens were flying when the Netflix executives and Spotify executives sat down and watched that Oprah Winfrey interview where they unleashed everything that Spotify and Netflix thought they were going to get exclusively.
Oh, 100%. And I actually have a working theory as to why Netflix not only is allowing this turkey to stream, right? Because it's really going to be terrible. And they allowed the comments to stay on, and they're airing it so closely to the flop that was Polo. It should have been positioned as a holiday show, cooking, family, friends, decorate. It should have been positioned as that, but instead it's like it's very California. It's all very white. It's all the color palette is just it's too springy. Anyway, my theory is that Netflix is doing this as a one-two punch so that when they do not renew this contract, they cannot be called racist. They can point directly to the quality of the output, which is bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel. She's going to get eyeballs for episode 1, and after that it's going to dramatically drop off.
Right. Yeah. It's a morbid curiosity, right? I think similar to the podcast, people are like, okay, what are you capable of? I want to see this in action. And then once they see it, they're not impressed. They don't buy it. This is a woman that has spent the last 4 years complaining about being a princess. And all of a sudden we're supposed to, believe that she's chasing joy by making ladybug hors d'oeuvres that she copied off of somebody else. I mean, I have lost count of how many examples I've seen online of Meghan ripping off other people with some of these projects she's doing on her show, plagiarizing quotes from other people about extraordinary. Somebody just sent me that. It was an architect that originally said that years ago. Does this woman have an original thought in her head? How is Netflix allowing this to go forward when it's just ripoff after ripoff? I mean, Martha Stewart aside, she's taking credit for all of these things that she just found on Pinterest.
Meghan Markle's biggest problem has always been she's her complete inauthenticity.
Yeah.
And it actually makes me wonder how well she knows herself. You know, I would watch a show about Meghan being a frustrated, bullying, resentful, mean striver who cannot work her way back in to the hearts and minds of not just Americans, but Britons, but the royal family, her own family. I mean, again, the gall to be like, this is a show about the joys of cooking and sharing meals with your friends. This is a woman who has isolated herself from her entire family of origin, save her mother, who has successfully isolated her husband from his entire family of origin. There's more than one way to wreck a home. She
Yeah.
has wrecked two of them. And now we're being invited into Meghan's kitchen, which is not even Meghan's effing kitchen. It's somebody else's down the road that she rented out. I doubt she paid money for it. You know, the kitchen that's supposed to be the heart of the home. We're told this all the time. Well, it's not Meghan's heart of the home. It's not even her kitchen. Why am I here?
Yeah, and she brought the poor dog as a prop. And I don't bring the dog as a prop because every time I see you with a dog, I'm reminded that you left one of your rescue dogs in Canada with a neighbor because it didn't like Prince Harry. I'm telling you, I don't care how much money you have in the bank. I don't care what you look like. If my dogs don't like you, you're going to have to figure it out or we're moving on because I'm not leaving a dog in a foreign country for anybody.
I'm not leaving my dog, period.
Yeah,
My dog
yeah,
was here first.
exactly.
Deal with it.
Exactly. I mean, when I saw Guy I think it's Guy in the trailer, I just thought, oh my God, how desperate. She's trying to use the dogs to lure us in. Not today, Satan. I know your dog story, not today. Um, yeah, one of the comments that I thought was so funny was that scene with the ice cream scoop, so talented, so brave. Do you think that she is seeing any of this reaction, or is she so oblivious, not watching TV on the day of multiple terror attacks to see that ish is getting real, that she has no idea what's going on YouTube? Because sometimes, and I don't think I'm as paranoid as Prince Harry is, but sometimes you and I say things and those two go and do something. And I'm like, they have got to be monitoring us because they're doing this to prove us wrong or they're doing this out of spite. Like I do sometimes feel, and then I know sometimes that people reach out to them and ask them about quotes that I make because that's at the end of every article. We reached out to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and there was no response. So do you think she's aware of the negativity that is surrounding the trailer, and how will she respond to that, knowing how sensitive she is and how thin-skinned she is?
I 100% believe that Meghan does live in the comment section, despite turning her own comments off. And this is why, Kinsey, because the flip side of her being a bully and insisting that she is also the paragon of feminism and women supporting other women is her forever victimhood. She
Mm.
loves to be a victim. So the more cuts online, the better, right? Those are people trying in her mind, they're trying to take down her greatness, right? And so what does she have to do? She has to reinvent herself yet again to prove how great she is and how much we'll love her if we just understand the Meghan reboot point 8.0. I don't know. I don't know what reboot we're on right now with her in terms of her branding, marketing. I don't know. But I do think that she's marinating in it. And I think she's kind of getting a kind of like sick supply from it. And so when Netflix pulls the plug on these two, there's going to be an invective coming out of Camp Montecito.
Do you think she's going to do any other media for this? Abigail Spencer, who's featured on the show, sat on Kelly Clarkson's couch and was like, "Oh, I was just talking to my girlfriend Megan about you. She says hi." And it was very bizarre and very well, it felt name droppy. And why? I think Abigail Spencer was promoting the show that's recently been canceled with John Cryer on NBC at the time. So what? But so why bring up Megan? Can you see Meghan sitting across from Kelly Clarkson? There were rumors that she was trying to get on Jimmy Fallon's show for a while. That there were rumors years ago that she was trying to get on Fallon, that she was trying to get on SNL. SNL is like completely savage towards her. I think they would have her, but I don't think it would stop them tearing into her. What is your thought process on any more publicity around the show? Because She and her team are the ones that told Page Six that 2025 was going to be all about the Markle Sparkle. She was intent on,
What?
yes, she
The
was
Markle Sparkle?
100%. And, she was intent on posting that Instagram post. She is determined to make this her year. I mean, that is what I'm seeing through the sound bites that are being released and through her actions. No matter what happens, she's not backing down, is what I'm seeing.
This is so fascinating. So Abigail Spencer, who I'm going to say at best is like a C-list celebrity. Really, the bulk of Americans do not know who this woman is. Goes on Kelly Clarkson's show and uses her time to try to shoehorn her friend Meghan in as a possible guest. Let's put that in your mind. If Meghan Markle had a shred of likability, not only would she be booked on a lot of these shows, but the number one show I would try to get her on would be Drew Barrymore, because Drew Barrymore has never met a famous person she doesn't like, who
And
she doesn't
doesn't
want to
want to
like
basically copulate with on the show.
seriously like skin on the couch like Buffalo Bill and climb into their body and live as them as one. But I don't even think that's a booking Meghan Markle could get. I think that Hollywood has kind of realized you're taking one side or the other. It's William and Kate who are the future of the monarchy. And Kate, who I just read in recent polling, by 77% is the most popular member of the British royal family, who it has been announced that in 2025, Kate is going to still take a step back. She's going to go day by day. This endears her to people. People are obsessed with Kate and wishing her only well. And this woman over here is feeding to Page Six that 2025 is the year of the Markle Sparkle. I mean, it is Norma Desmond Sunset Boulevard levels of derangement.
You are so
I
I
mean, really.
I can't comprehend. You know where I can see, who is so shameless that I can see them inviting her with open arms is the damn View, which is just absolute terrible television, train wreck television, but they'd all sit there and agree on everything.
I don't know. I mean, they would have to go all in on Meghan. Like, first of all, is Meghan going to be slinging those arrows that the royals are racist still? Because
Mm.
Harry walked all of that back when he was promoting Spare. He's been walking it back since his father's diagnosis. He's trying to worm his way back in there. I
But
truly,
don't forget Meghan during the CBS interview when they were supposed to be talking about the Parents Network that's there to support people that have lost their children to online bullying. When Jane Pauley said something about Meghan's mental health, she was like, "Oh yeah, I still haven't processed it all yet." So it's not like Meghan totally shuts it down when people allude to the negative experience she had while she was a member of the British royal family. Like you said, she like leans into that victimhood. So if Whoopi Goldberg
yeah.
says, you feel like it's less racist where you are now, Megan might be like, uh-huh. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I think what's fundamentally wrong with Megan is that she has nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like she cannot carry on a conversation. She can't do a parry back and forth. And when Jane Pauley asked her that question, when she asked her about her suicidal ideations while living at the palace with the royals, Megan looked startled and
Yeah.
she looked pissed. It was like, how dare you bring that up? We've moved past that talking point. That talking point that most sane people think is utter BS because everyone in the royal family gets whatever mental help they need. Harry and William and Kate founded Heads Together, which was all about promoting mental health and mental wellness. So get out of here with that. And she suddenly looked like a deer in the headlights, and the wall went up, and it was like, we're not discussing that.
Mm.
So again, when you're dealing with someone who's essentially fraudulent and can't carry on a conversation because you never quite know what their talking points are, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's a lost leader for any kind of talk show.
Yeah. So, well, I just watched her on a Yahoo style something with Kristen Cavallari and then this other guy that I wasn't familiar with. And she was decent. She was talking about the TIG. It might have been Prince Harry. It was in 2016. I don't know whether they met or started dating yet. She was at Fashion Week, and while she still came off extremely fake, she was so much more likable than she is today in that interview. Um, she used to be so desperate for this kind of attention. So I don't I think she doesn't want to be criticized any more than she knows she's going to be due to the show. So I do wonder if she will sit out the PR rounds. She might do some magazines because she loves having her picture taken. You can see the behind the scenes videos. She loves having glamorous photos taken of herself. But I don't know if she's willing to put herself out there for additional criticism and risk somebody asking her something that is not on script. Do you think that she'll continue to kind of like stay in her turtle shell and try to use social media to get anything out that she wants out?
I mean, that's such a great point, but what I find hard to believe is that, whenever somebody super A-list goes on any of these talk shows, it's the questions are dealt with in advance, with say like Angelina Jolie, who's doing a ton of publicity for Maria. Everyone's told not to ask about Brad Pitt, the divorce. There was a huge profile of her in the New York Times recently. The journalist made a point of saying, I was told that's off limits. So Meghan could certainly set her parameters should she desire. I think what's more likely is she is radioactive and everyone knows it. Even the Hollywood Reporter ran two damning stories last year. One was an item on Netflix's worst performing shows. Harry's Invictus was in the top 10. And the second was called Why Hollywood Keeps Quitting on Harry and Meghan. And so I think the collective wisdom is they're circling the drain. This cooking show is going to be the remnants in the tub that are circling that proverbial drain and are going down. And nobody's going to give them a payday like this again for any sort of media project.
But there's this train wreck element though, like the Honey Boo Boo vibe. Don't you think that somebody might take advantage of that? Like they are toxic, but they're toxic and people like it's just pure clickbait.
I mean, I truly think Megan's lane, one in which she could thrive, is really reality television. She feels very Real Housewives to me. She feels like a great cast member for, say, The Traitors, but she will never lower herself to that, which I do believe is her natural habitat,
Mm, I
right?
I totally agree with you. Although we have some mutual friends on Southern Charm that wouldn't let her near their cast and crew. Yeah, no, I can see that. I So you're saying that while certain people would see the value in her in kind of like the train wreck department, you think she would feel like she was too above it. By the way, what is William Morrison ever doing for her? I mean, do you ever stop and think like, where is anything? Where's
Yeah,
any
I do. I do. I wonder about that a lot. And I thought about that a lot when that Hollywood Reporter piece ran. Uh, I thought, well, Ari Emanuel, who is her agent and who is one of the most powerful people in entertainment, could easily have killed that piece or asked them to remove some teeth. And he did not.
no,
And this folds into my theory about Netflix, which is like let them hang themselves with their own rope.
no, I see that because Megan is a control freak and her fingerprints are all over the trailer that people are rejecting. And so her fingerprints are going to be all over the show and people are going to reject that. And I don't know where you go from here because that's two major corporations in Hollywood slamming the door in your face. And it's fail after fail. And the failures are too close together. I really feel like first, don't you agree that if she would have come out with this first, not done the Oprah sit down, said nothing negative about the royal family, and not have done the Netflix Harry and Meghan tearing into the royal family until maybe 5 years later, if she would have come out with this first, it would have been tolerable. There would have been criticism about how boring and bland it was and how she was ripping people off. But I don't think people would be as annoyed and rejecting it as fiercely as they are because we now know who she truly is. We've seen that for the last 4 years. She's a mean girl. She was cruel to her elders. She made the last few years of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth's lives a living hell. Accused two people of cancer, of racism, and then said, "Oh no, that's not true. I never did that." I mean, I think we are having a harder time processing this because we now know who she really is, and we didn't when they initially signed on the dotted lines. We might have been able to buy this 4 or 5 years ago, but now we're like, no, we've seen who you really are and we don't like you. And we're definitely not going to buy your BS now.
I mean, I think ultimately the outcome would have been the same, no matter the chronology, because the show would still have been stultifyingly boring with
Yeah.
like zero nutritional value, literally and figuratively. And I do think that they overestimated this notion that America had a full buy-in to the idea that racism was alive and well among the British royal family, that they were going to flog that narrative here, and the mainstream media and the public at large would be reluctant to say she was lying about being a victim of racism and that she was stretching the truth at best and exhibiting great cruelty in the Oprah interview
Mm-hmm.
and acting. And I mean, I remember writing a column about that. I was like an outlier at that time,
Yeah,
saying
you
this
were.
was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately, fake people reveal themselves to be fake. They can't help it. There's no there there. What we know of that's real is her endless grasping for importance and relevance and a fame that eclipses that of her in-laws, which is just never going to happen.
No, no. I mean, she's gone up against the quote unquote institution that she just can't compete with. You were a deal or no deal girl. What truly, and what she did was she accused them of one of the worst things in the entire world possible, especially to be accused of in the media during the George Floyd riots and with cancel culture at a peak. I think she intentionally accused them of something so extreme out of desperation, and it backfired because we don't believe it. They have no receipts, and if you look at just the New York near catastrophic car chase, you see how they tend to exaggerate absolutely every little thing, and also they're just both hypersensitive.
You know what else is so strange? As you were talking, I was thinking about this. Megan wants to be Diana 2.0.
100%.
This we know, right? Can you imagine Diana having left the British royal family going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a cooking show. I'm going to do a cooking show. Diana was walking through landmines. Diana was hugging starving orphans who
and
had
not
been
and not wearing Cartier while doing it. Like
and
Megan was,
not wearing Cartier while doing it.
yeah,
She was an imperfect person, but she had a platform which the value of which she inherently understood. And Meghan Markle, somebody was saying this, and I wonder what happened to it. Remember when she went down to Uvalde with a freaking camera crew?
yeah, yes, 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 yes. That's what I thought when I thought about New Orleans. I thought, wow, she sure picks and chooses what tragedies she's going to insert herself in, right?
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know if she's been like told if there's been some edict from the palace, which is like if you do that one more time, there is 000 way back because we don't do that. We don't exploit tragedies for our own gain. I mean, it made me think of remember in her very early days. I don't know if she was married to Harry yet or not, but she went and visited sex workers like at a shelter
Oh, and
and
then
she
she
wrote
wrote on the
like
bananas.
on bananas.
Well, have you seen the pictures of her before she met Harry where she's dressed as Princess Diana on like UNICEF trips and she's posed as Princess Diana, dressed as Princess Diana?
I have not, but it
I'm going to
doesn't
send you that.
surprise.
I'm going to send you that as soon as we're done with this because it makes my skin crawl. But you're right. She's not Diana. She's Fergie, who was hawking blenders at 3 a.m. on QVC years ago because she owed so many people so much money. Fergie, it was not only, and it's interesting because Fergie has had some legitimate success. There was that Emily Blunt Queen Victoria movie that Fergie was a producer on. I don't know why Fergie couldn't have stayed in that lane and followed that path because that was a beautiful movie. She's an expert in that world. She writes books. I never read them, but people continue to buy them. But it's all been kind of out of desperation. She needed money because she was borrowing it from Jeffrey Epstein. and it feel that it's a similar desperation with Meghan, doing all of these things. Am I a podcaster? Am I a philanthropist? Am I a calligrapher? Am I a cooking show host? Am I, like I could list off 500. Am I, a boss babe? Am I a boss mom? Like I could list off 5,000 things, but it gives Fergie, toe sucking Fergie, God love her, way more than it ever gives Diana.
The other thing about Fergie is that even at her lowest with the toast sucking scandal, people had a soft spot for her because they felt she was ultimately well-intentioned, but just kind of a screw up. You
Mm-hmm.
And with Meghan, there's no such goodwill because nobody feels that she's well-intentioned in any way. And
No.
I think that you're right, Kinsey. I think the desperation is only going to get worse as these deals fall apart, as the paychecks stop coming in, as the cost of running Montecito mounts, as the cost of their second estate in Portugal mounts. They don't, there's a lot more going out than seems to be coming in. And I do think the final step for Meghan, which will be the atomic bomb that blows her entire life up, will be the inevitable memoir that she writes.
Oh gosh, my body rejects my body, but you're right, absolutely.
Sorry.
I know. Before I let you go, I know, thank you for being so gracious with your time. I know I've
Oh,
kept you.
it's so much fun, please.
I know. Um, Talk to me really quickly. I'd like your reaction to the Daily Mail got their hands on, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, some communication between Prince Harry's security team and the NYPD regarding that May 2023 near catastrophic car chase. And I want to find the exact words Prince Harry's team uses, but they're threatening the NYPD. They say the Duke feels intentionally misled and is suspicious of a cover up. The story, like, of course, landing right before the holidays. Thank God for Prince Harry, because it basically went unnoticed. And Harry threatens to bring in Governor Gavin Newsom. His friend Governor Gavin Newsom threatens to file a report on the NYPD. And this is a back and forth going on between Harry's team and the NYPD. And finally, the NYPD says when Prince Harry threatens to bring in Newsom and file some sort of report against them with the DA's office, the NYPD says, going forward, you're going to talk to our attorneys. Like, we're no longer going to engage in this conversation. And that's where it kind of died. Like the entitlement of Prince Harry thinking that Governor Gavin Newsom in California is going to help him do anything. He wants the paparazzi arrested. He's saying in the email, I want them arrested tomorrow. Or this email is around the Christmas time. It would be like Christmas Eve that he's asking them to arrest the paparazzi and allegedly involved in the car chase. The police sent an email to London saying that it was an unfortunate incident, but there was nothing illegal about it. Like 3 months later, they have a call with Harry's team, and then the police send another email to London saying, we could arrest some people about it. Jump to your own conclusion. I don't know if Harry's team pressured them to send that email because Harry's team was using those emails to try to get the government to pay for his security over in the UK. He's continuing to fight that. When you hear about the emails like that from Prince Harry, these giant temper tantrums, but trying to use U.S. politicians, the governor of California, to influence what's going on in NYPD. Does it make you as pissed off as it makes me?
Oh, it's so freaking ridiculous. New York has enough problems to deal with, truly.
Yeah.
Garbage. You're so right. Number one, it's entitlement. Two, it's really all about getting government back paid security in London, in the UK, and probably here, trying to get his family to bankroll it. Thirdly, you're an idiot. You've been living here, what, 5 years? You don't understand that the governor of one state has zero jurisdiction over the governor or the police department of another. The mayor of New York said what they described could not have happened that way. Logistically, it doesn't work. Their cab driver said it didn't happen that way. He files this on Christmas Eve when everybody is checked out. Checked out. The whole thing is them in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's just very, I read that and I was so fired up and I thought, yeah, this is going to die because it's one of those, I'm sure it was the Freedom of Information Act coming through around that time and the Daily Mail just had to get it up. But, when something happens during the holidays, unless it's catastrophic, nobody really engages with it because we're excited about Santa Claus. So thank you so much for talking to me today. This was so fun. And obviously we have to recap. Meghan, are you going to watch the whole show? 8 episodes, 33 minutes long each. Are we going to commit to that? Or are we just going to do
Kinsey, yes. Yeah. Are you setting your alarm to get up? Like once as a little girl, I set my alarm to get up and watch Diana marry Charles, from
totally? Yeah. Yeah.
so fun. Now I'm gonna have to set my alarm to get up at like 2 a.m. whenever they drop this hot steaming pile of garbage. The only question is, will we get to stream all at once or will it be a weekly drop?
I
You
think
know?
that I think that if you are right, and I think you are, that Netflix is washing their hands of them because this is suspicious. Polo and With Love Meghan coming out so close together. That's them saying like the contract's almost up. Let's get this out of the way. I think that they will drop it all at once. And we know with the shows that they truly believe in, like The Crown, I could name several others, that they drop them weekly because that they believe in those shows. Those shows are you can't miss. Um, with Polo, they dropped them all at the same time because they were basically saying, "Oh, let's just get this out of the way." I think it'll be the same with Megan's show.
Brew some very strong coffee. It's going to be very difficult to
Yeah,
keep your eyes open for me, but I can't wait. I mean, this has been so much fun. I could go on, but obviously we both have lives to lead. So I guess I'll see you on the other side.
all right, thanks, Maureen. If you agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. I know you will. You guys are very good about that. We'll see you next time.